Hi guys, Aaron here with Ghost Raptor Gaming and Guns, and today I am doing Q&A session number 1. These questions are provided to me by my patrons who support me on Patreon for at least the $1 a month minimum. So if you want to ask questions about anything firearm or video game related, or even some personal questions about me, you go over to Patreon, support me for $1 a month, and you'll be able to submit questions to me and get videos like these. So we'll just jump right into it. I'll try and keep this fairly short, fairly quick, keep you guys entertained. Let's see, Andrew, how many guns do you own? I believe right now I have about 25. I know for sure that I have 10 long guns, shotguns or rifles, and I believe I have 14 or 15 handguns right now. So yeah, about 25. And it's one of those things that I'm constantly cycling different firearms out. I'm always buying, trading, selling guns, and trying to just get different guns that I like. Some obviously I'm trying to get for these reviews, and then some I'm just very, very interested in. I like curio and relic guns, milsurps, that kind of thing, and I do like modern firearms too. Been a collector my whole life, so I'm always cycling them out until I find something that I really, really like, and then I have a tendency to hang on to that one for a long time. He continues with, can you model the breakdown and setup of a handgun, cleaning, and recommend some products? Well, breakdown is going to, and service is going to depend on what style of handgun that you have. Here I have two basic models. This is a Smith & Wesson 442 808 Bodyguard and 38 Special. These are very simple guns. It's a double action only 5-shot 38, and it is clearance safe. And basically all you do is you just run a bore brush down the barrel and through all the chambers on the cylinder, and then the breech face where your firing pin and your action and everything is at, you just drop a few drops of lubricant in there, wipe the excess off, and you're good to go. And that, if you do a two-step process, you'll do that with your cleaning product first. You'll wipe everything down, run your bore brush through and all that, and then you lubricate everything in a similar fashion, a lot of times with a cleaning patch. I don't generally do that with my guns. I have a one-step process, which I'll discuss in a moment. And just for a kind of automatic, basic, bare-bones gun, I have my Glock 21, previously reviewed. I highly recommend this firearm. And it's pretty simple to do. You just drop your magazine, ensure that the gun is clear, and then what you'll do is you'll point it in a safe direction, pull the trigger. You don't have to do that with all handguns, just particularly with Glocks, and a lot of other firearms match this kind of form factor in this disassembly process, so that is generally going to be part of it. And then what you'll do is you pull the slide back just a hair, and there's a tab on each side right here. You simply pull that down, let the slide forward, and push it a little bit with your thumb, and the entire slide assembly comes right off of the frame. Set the frame to the side. Remove your recoil spring assembly. These have a tendency nowadays to be a double captive recoil spring, so you don't have to worry about it flying across the room or anything like that. And then you'll lift the barrel up and back, and that'll take it directly out of the slide. And again, you can set that to the side. And then what I'll do is all inside the slide, all in here, you're just going to spray that with your cleaning product, wipe it down with a rag, scrub it with like a toothbrush, and then spray it down with your lubricant, and you're good to go. Barrel, same thing, spray it down with your cleaning solution, run your bore brush through it, which I recommend like a brass brush, and just give it a good scrubbing with whatever cleaning product you like. I like Hops No. 9 Elite if I'm doing a two-step process, and I don't generally do that anymore, but same thing, lubricate it, cleaning patch down the barrel on your cleaning rod, wipe the whole thing down. Same thing with your recoil spring assembly, spray it down with your cleaning product, shake it out, wipe it down with a rag, spray it with lubricant, wipe the excess away. And then you can do the same thing. I generally take like a separate rag just for my lubricant and then one just for my cleaning solution, and I'll take that used lubricated rag, and I'll just wipe down the magazine real quick. And then same thing for the frame. Just wherever you have, wherever it needs to be clean, use it with cleaning product, a rag, a toothbrush, that kind of thing. And then whenever you have any kind of metal on metal contact, spray that with your lubricant, wipe away the excess, and then reassemble it. Reassembly on most modern pistols like this Glock are all very similar. So they're basically all the same thing. Just slide your barrel back in and down. Take your recoil spring, and there's generally a groove in the front, or a ring in this instance, right about there where it's supposed to sit. And just push it forward a little bit, and there'll be a notch on the barrel. Just take the rear end of it and slide it into that notch, and the whole slide is now reassembled. And then you'll just line up your slide rails, pull it all the way back, and it just locks back in place. Just give it a function check, and you're good to go. And generally I store most of my firearms decocked like that. If it has a decock option, I'll decock it, and if I have to dry fire, I have to dry fire it. But I try to keep the tension off the firing pin spring. And that's generally how you would do that. I know that's kind of a quick breakdown of it, but and it's not going to be, that's not going to apply to all firearms. It's, cleaning a different pistol might be different. Cleaning like a 1911 like this one, it's going to be more intense because the disassembly process is much different on this gun. So really it depends on the handgun you have, but I feel that the Glock that I just broke down really covers that, and I did cover the revolver. So like I said, I used to do a two-step process. I really did like Hops Elite, and I would use their cleaning solution and then their lubricant. And it's a fairly viscous lubricant, so it lasts a long time. It doesn't just wick away. Like I found that products like Rem Lube are very thin, and so the gun dries out very quickly. And while it's not a terrible thing if you live in a fairly humid environment like I do, or I should say a fairly dry environment like I do, if you live in a fairly humid environment like Florida or Georgia or something like that, you don't want your gun to dry out like that because it will rust very quickly on you. So you want to make sure you have a fairly viscous lubricant. These days I have a tendency to use Break-Free CLP. This is a product I used in the military. And this is a one-step process, and there's a few other products out there like this that's a one-step process, and it's a cleaner, a lubricant, and a preservative is what they call it. Basically it has rust inhibitors. So what I'll do is I will just spray the gun down vigorously with this, allow all of the carbon and stuff, all the fouling to drip onto a rag, which I keep on a cleaning mat. Then I'll wipe that down, and I'll do that with all of my parts. I'll wipe them all down very thoroughly, scrub it with a toothbrush, and then I'll spray it again, wipe away the excess, and then finally just hit it in any critical components. Again, wipe away any excess, and it's a very quick and easy process. So I do highly recommend CLP. I do really like that. If you want to do a two-step process instead of a one-step process, Hops Elite works very well. So you can do that. I understand Barisol is very good too, although I've never personally used it. But that's one of those products that people really tend to like it. Once they start using it, they kind of stick with it. So there's just a few cleaning products for you that I would suggest. And he next asked, could you do some shotgun breakdowns? Well, I have a couple shotguns here. I do own a couple double barrels. I've owned a couple pumps in the past. I actually have a bolt action shotgun, which I might do a review on soon. And I do have one semi-auto. And I'm not going to do the breakdown of the semi-auto just because semi-autos can be rather finicky. Particularly AR-12s. They're coming in from Turkey all the time, and a lot of different importers finish customizing them and sell them, and they sell under all sorts of different names. But those generally, from what I'm hearing, seem to be unreliable, and a lot of semi-automatic shotguns in general tend to be unreliable. I think you're better off with a breech loading gun, like a double barrel shotgun, or a pump shotgun. Really a pump shotgun like a Mossberg or a Remington 870 is really the way to go. And there's other good ones out there. There's the Ithaca 37, the Winchester Model 12, and SXP. Some are older, some are newer. The 1897 is a proven design. It's still manufactured by some people who copy it. That's a proven pump design. So really it comes down to need, but we'll go through a couple right now. This is my Stoeger 12 gauge coach gun, and I did a review on this previously. So if you want an in-depth review on this particular firearm, go ahead and watch that review. But this is a double barrel 12 gauge, simple bead sight with this kind of vent rib running down the middle here, and it's serrated to reduce glare for whatever reason. And the breakdown of these is very simple. There's one trick to this kind of design that's very important though, because it has internally captive firing pins. What you want to do is, again, I have a tendency to make sure that my firing pins are down, my hammers are down, all that stuff just for storage. But so what you want to do is, and this is very important, open the gun to cock those springs. Then close the gun, and then on most double barrel shotguns this is how it works. It's not really going to matter if it's a Stoeger or a Remington or anything like that. They're all basically the same. There's a button here in the handguard. Push that button and the handguard comes right off. Open the breech as you normally would, but continue to bring it down and lift the barrel right off. And then you have access to all the parts you need to have access to clean it, lubricate it, or store it. And reassembly is the exact opposite. You just hinge it back up, and then you put it in your handguard and just snap it right back on. So these guns are very simple, very durable, very reliable guns, and they can do everything the average person is going to need them to do. If you're military and law enforcement, this probably isn't the best choice for you. But for home defense, hunting, trap shooting, that kind of thing, even survival, if you get a smaller one like a 20 gauge or a 410, you can break it down, throw it in a kit, and if you're a bush pilot or something like that, something goes wrong, you have your bag with you, you have a shotgun. So that's a basic breakdown of the double barrel 12 gauge. And then here I do have a pump shotgun. I didn't bring out Mossberg or anything like that. This is a Stevens Model 320. And it's a 6-shot pump action 12 gauge shotgun. It's fairly representative of every pump action shotgun out there. I believe this is actually a copy of the Winchester 1300, or now it's the SXP model. And it's pretty basic. Again, I won't be breaking it down, but to break it down, all you really need to do is bring the pump to the rear. By the way, this is safe and clear. But you'll bring the pump to the rearward position. You'll unthread this end cap, and then the barrel comes right off. And that's about as far as you're going to actually break it down for cleaning. So you don't even really need to do that unless you really want to. And this is how you would kind of clean it if you kept it together. Same process. Make sure it's clear and safe like I did with this one. Leave your safety on it if you can. And then same thing, they make shotgun cleaning kits. They'll have a bore brush, and then they have kind of it's not exactly a cleaning patch, but they have like a soft spongy material that you'll thread onto a normal cleaning rod, and you'll just run it down the barrel, your bore brush, run down the barrel, and then put some CLP or something on that kind of spongy pad, and you'll run it up and down the barrel just to clear out the barrel and the chamber. And then you can just spray some lubricant in the top of the receiver to everything you need to get at. And then when you want to do it from the bottom, you just push the elevator down, spray in there, and it's a very easy gun to use. You just load rounds up into the chamber. You want to face them this way, just like this, and you would insert them here into the tube and then just push them up with your thumb until it's loaded, and then chamber around just like that, top it off if you want to, and you're good to go. So the pump action shotgun is a really good option as well. Again, trap shooting, hunting, home defense, and then a lot of law enforcement and military agencies use these as well for obvious reasons. So that's kind of a basic breakdown of a couple different shotguns. They're very simple weapons. They're very easy to maintain, break down, take care So that's just representative of two of them. And again, I don't generally recommend the semi-auto shotguns, which is why I didn't really give you a breakdown of that. But I may do a review of a couple semi-autos in the future. So stay tuned, check those out when they come out, and you'll be able to get really detailed information about them in particular. And I think that about does it for Andrew's questions. So, yep. That's how many guns I own, 25, like I said, about 25 guns. That's the basic breakdown and reassembling and cleaning process for a handgun. That's the same process for a shotgun. And as far as recommended products, again, I do recommend, if you're getting a handgun, if you're just getting into it, a simple Airweight Bodyguard 38 Special like this is a very good gun to get. If you want an automatic, you really can't go wrong with a Glock. It's the most bare bones kind of semi-automatic handgun that's out there. They work very well. That's why they've been adopted by the military, militaries around the world, the law enforcement agencies around the world. The hype is real. If you have never shot a Glock or you've never owned a Glock, I do actually encourage you to go out and get one, especially if you're new to the firearms community. That's a good way to go. Cleaning products, like I said, CLP, Hops Elite, Barristol. And so I think that about does it for the firearm related questions. Let's check the gaming questions, and I decided to do the firearms related questions first just because that's what most people tune in for. And now we're going to get into some gaming questions, so if you're not really interested in those right now, this is the part where you can sign off and have a good one. Let's see. Nora asks, what is your favorite video game? I think that's a difficult question for me right now just because I have a lot of favorites. I have a lot of favorite franchises and everything, but I think as it sits right now, it's probably a tie between Resident Evil Revelations 2. I really like that game. It's got a lot of Barry in it. They bring his character back for it. He's one of the main characters in the game, and you get a feel for who he is a little bit more as a character versus in the older games where you didn't really get that. It's very good. I like the controls. I like the firearms, the customization that's in it. I love the horror theme. It's a very kind of gritty game, so I really like it. I've always liked Resident Evil, but I really do think that that's my favorite, and that's going to upset some people because some people are like, dude, Resident Evil 4, yeah, that's a great game too. I love it. Again, it's one of the best in the franchise, but I like to tell people if they haven't played Revelations 2, it's the best thing to happen to Resident Evil since Resident Evil 4. So if you haven't played it, I highly recommend it. The other side of the tie is Fallout New Vegas. I'm huge into that game. Basically, if I'm like, oh, I want to play a video game right now, and I'm just relaxing at night or something like that, chances are I'm turning on Fallout New Vegas. It's very immersive. It is very expansive. You can play that game literally dozens of times, and other than like the main quest, your experience probably won't be the same. I know for a fact that you can play that game in like the main campaign, like 3 or 4 different ways. So it always has more to give you. There's always more to discover. I'm still discovering things in it. So I really enjoy those. Fallout in general, but Fallout New Vegas is my favorite one that they've done so far. So, I think it's a tie between Revelations 2 and Fallout New Vegas. Nora also asks, what's your favorite genre of games and why? And I think it's probably horror. I'm really into Silent Hill. I'm really into Resident Evil. I'm into a lot of different survival horror games. I really liked the first Condemned Criminal Origins. I think that one is really spooky. But it got kind of mediocre reviews because you basically spend most of the game doing the same thing, which is just fighting people with melee weapons, and people get kind of bored with that. But as far as immersion goes, and as far as lighting and all that stuff goes, it still holds up really well today. But I think that's my favorite genre because I've always been drawn to horror. I do really like first-person shooters too. I do play a lot of Battlefield. I used to play a lot of Call of Duty. In shooters in general, I still play a lot of Gears of War and stuff like that. So horror and shooters, and when the two kind of meet in this really beautiful way, I really, really enjoy that game. Hence why Revelations 2 is one of my favorite games. And I just always liked horror. I grew up watching the original Frankenstein and the original Dracula, the original Wolfman, and it just kind of grew from there. And now we live in a time where it's actually pretty hard to find good horror movies, but there's also a big backlog of them as well. So if you go through all of the old movies like The Exorcist and Rosemary's Baby and Children of the Corn, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, there's a lot of really good horror movies out there. But I've always been drawn to those genres, and I'm not really sure why. It's hard to put into words, I guess. But I've always really enjoyed the horror genre. So that's probably why my favorite games are horror games and shooter games. Nora also asked, what was your first console and your first video game? Well, my first console was a Sega Genesis. I got that a long time ago. I think I was like 5 or 6 years old. Something like that. I was pretty young. I got that, and the first game, again, that's kind of a tricky question too, because I believe I had multiple games for it when I first got it, but the one I know I played the first was Sonic the Hedgehog, believe it or not. And I still have it. I still have Sonic the Hedgehog on my Xbox. I still play it from time to time. I also got Jurassic Park, Formula 1 Racing, F-22 Interceptor. There was some other games, 4 or 5 other games, and I really put Vector Man 2 was another one, and I played the most. The game I played the most was the Sonic the Hedgehog, Jurassic Park, and Vector Man 2. Those were like my 3 big ones that I played. I had some others, but those are the first ones that I had, so I got a bunch at the same time. What was your first gun, and what is your favorite gun if different from your first one? The first gun that I ever got, well, this is kind of a two-part question. The first gun that I ever actually had that was, I wasn't just using my dad's gun or borrowing one from a friend or something like that. The first gun I ever actually got was this Stoger, actually. It was this Stoger double barrel 12 gauge. My dad got this for me when I was 14. I started hunting when I was 12. That was the legal age at the time here in Rhode Island, and I used his H&R top brake, the Topper Model 58, which I did a review on. If you haven't seen it, please go check it out. But this was the first gun I got, and he got it for me because it's relatively short. It's very simple to operate. It's very simple to maintain, and he thought it would be a good beginner gun. He didn't realize, however, that it was going to be very loud, which it is. To date, this is still the loudest gun I've ever fired. And it does kick like a mule. If you're not using like light game loads, you're not going to have a fun time. So for a 14-year-old who is relatively short and skinny, it was a little much at first, but I've really grown to love the gun, and I still shoot this gun whenever I can. My favorite gun is, the first gun I ever bought, I still have it. It's a Marlin Model 60, which is a semi-automatic 22 tube-fed rifle. I bought that gun from Bullseye Shooting Supplies, and I got that for, it was like $115. It was used. And I actually went to buy a different 22 that I had saw the week before, and I liked it. And I forget what it was, but I liked it, and then I went back in to actually get it, and I saw the Marlin sitting there, and I liked it more, and I decided to buy that one instead. I still have it. I still shoot it quite a bit, but that's the first gun I bought. As far as a favorite gun, that's kind of a tough decision for me. I have a lot of different handguns. I have a lot of different long guns, and I enjoy them all for different reasons. But I think that my favorite gun that I have is I have a AK-74. I have a Saiga in 5.45 millimeter, and I really adore that gun. It's very accurate. It's a little heavy, as all AKs are a little heavy compared to their AR-15 counterparts, but it's extremely soft shooting, very accurate, extremely reliable, and I really love shooting that gun. I don't shoot it that often, but I think that that's my favorite as far as rifles go. Anyways, I have an AR. I do like ARs. I have a Mosin Nagant. I have a Mauser 98. I mean, I have a lot of cool historical guns, and I have some newer kind of tactical guns. I have a CZ75 PO1. I really enjoy shooting that. I love my Glock 21. I actually have a CZ82, a 9mm Makarov. I love that gun to death. But I think overall right now my favorite is my AK-74. And I think that's all the questions I have for Q&A session number 1. The next one, I'm not sure exactly when I'm going to be making that one. It's probably going to be another couple months. I want to try and get some more patrons on Patreon. If you guys are watching this and you haven't subbed to me on Patreon, you really should. I really appreciate your support so I can continue to bring good content like this. And patrons are always welcome to do requests. And of course, if you are just watching this on YouTube, feel free to drop a comment asking, hey, can you review this gun? Could you review that gun? Could you do a video, just a thoughts video like I did, thoughts on black powder firearms? If you're looking for anything in specific, go ahead, let me know in the comments, or shoot me a message on Patreon. Please support me over there. That's a big deal. And other than that, I think we're all set here. So this has been Aaron with Ghost Raptor Gaming and Guns. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.